I do make sure to prioritize building relationships, and mostly I think that I can do this by just showing them my true, authentic self. I feel like when students feel that they are just talking with another real person, someone who's like actually caring about them, that's respecting them, that's willing to be vulnerable and have bad days, have good days, you see the real, true them, that it creates that trust and connection automatically.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inspiring Teachers, the Honored podcast, where we shine a spotlight on life-changing teachers across the country. I'm Hannah, your podcast host, and our podcast is brought to you by Honored, which is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring and elevating great teachers nationwide. Our mission is to inspire and retain great teachers, keeping them in the classroom as long as possible. Every month at Honored, we select an exceptional educator in the United States to be the recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. Each honoree, as we call them, gets a $5,000 cash reward, and we then tell the story on our website and our social media platforms of how that teacher has impacted their students' lives. To learn more about our organization, you can go to our website at honored.org. We are so excited to have you listening in on another Honoree podcast episode. To celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week in May, we are excited to have our first ever double honorees. This month, we are sharing the story of two incredible educators who have changed the lives of their students. Through our program, we are honored to give educators individualized recognition, which research shows keeps great teachers in the classroom longer. To help us celebrate teacher appreciation all year long, you can recognize a teacher and nominate them for our Honored National Teaching Award at honored.org/nominate. Today, we are joined by Hailey Ellzey, a business teacher at Greenbrier High School in Greenbrier, Arkansas. She was nominated for this award by her student, Jenna Whitely. To help share the impact of Hailey's teaching, we are joined today by Jenna and Jenna's mom, Melanie. Before we dive into Hailey's story, we are excited to kick off our honoree episode with our special segment, Teachers Who Inspired, which is featured at the beginning of each episode. Here, we invite well-known individuals to share a story about a teacher who had a lasting impact on their lives. These stories remind us that behind every great achievement, there's often an inspiring teacher who believed in their potential. Today, we're thrilled to have our guest on our special segment, Vincent Cobb, who is the CEO of Summer House Institute, a national organization committed to inspiring, developing, and growing the next generation of Black male educators in U.S. public schools. Mr. Cobb is responsible for working with program partners in major school districts across the country to advance racial equity, diversity in schools, and creating better access pathways for high-quality Black male leaders to stand in front of classrooms.
Hi, my name is Vincent Cobb, and I serve as the CEO of Summer House Institute. We have chapters in Philadelphia and also Houston, Texas. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about a teacher who has inspired me. The teacher who has inspired me was my 7th grade Black male social studies teacher. His name was Mr. Brian Freeland. He was an incredible teacher because he didn't just teach to the test. He didn't just teach the curriculum. He taught us about life. He taught us about the sweatshops and how to be leaders in our community and how hip hop and society and its influence on youth work and how we can make a change as change agents in our schools, in our communities, in our neighborhoods. We were wholly inspired by this man who would climb on top of a school desk, and in his hand he would have the social studies book reading out loud, and he would have this Socratic method of teaching where he would just call on us and we had to be ready to respond. He taught us how to respond with confidence and how to be able to answer questions with depth and with understanding and learning. He would push us to learn. And it was amazing because in our classroom, it was as if he took center stage and we all were just very captivated by his presence. He also made sure he spent time with us during school, even during a school lunch, or try to find some way to mentor some of us guys one-on-one. talk about our family and the legacy that we wanted to lead. And he would hold us to a higher standard, even in our other classrooms. Talked about how academic success was our route and that we should know our history or we would be doomed to repeat it, in the words of Malcolm X. And he taught us about so many incredible historical figures that shaped society and shaped the legacy that we were to one day lead. And so everyone who passed through Mr. Freeland's 7th grade social studies class, you knew and had a story. Even 20 years later, we talk about him and his amazing impact. And he has been the impetus and the inspiration for my work around Summer House Institute, which is a residential program for Black male undergraduates who are interested in teaching careers. And we know that we need the importance of these role models in our schools because Black men make up just 2% of the U.S. teacher workforce. And when we think about that in a school's K through 12 career, we have the scientific data that proves that Black males are 39% more likely to aspire to go to college and to enroll in college if they had a Black male teacher in their K through 12 experience. It shows that other students, even including white students that have diverse teachers, such as Black men in their schools, it really works around anti-racism and the stereotypes that we see in the media. It forms a different relationship. And it also shows that among the demographic of teachers, Black men have a distinct and unique impact in the trajectory and the success of school communities and our students. And so we want to provide that opportunity, just like I had the opportunity to have such a significant Black male teacher in my life. We want to pay that forward by making sure that we have a program that inducts 30 to 50 Black men every summer into careers of teachers so that we can have more Mr. Freelands in classrooms all across this country. And so I carry that with me even to this day. I didn't even know that I could one day be in education. I didn't even thought about it until I took a summer job at the Lemoyne College Upward Bound program in Syracuse, New York. And I realized after that summer, the hardest summer of my life, the hardest job of my life, working with 50 Black and Latino young men on a campus for 6 weeks, it was life-changing for me. And I didn't even know the impact that I could have until these young men shared with me their impact stories of having me as their counselor for that summer. And so it was on that day that I realized that the influence and impact that Mr. Freeland had on me had now come full circle. And I had a job to do, and I had to do the due diligence to making sure that my representation and my example could impact the trajectory of other young Black boys and girls and white students and students of color across the spectrum, knowing that our schools should match the demographic of students that we aim to serve. It is of cultural significance. It is of understanding and a knowing that curbs stereotypes and the suspension rates and mislabeling into other classrooms, and that really offsets some of the cyclical issues that we see in these communities and underserved communities across the nation. And so a teacher, an excellent teacher, can make a difference, but a Black male teacher can make even more of a difference when they are highly skilled, ready and prepared to engage with students of our time today. And so I am proud of the work that we're doing at Summer House Institute. I am proud of the legacy that Mr. Freeland has left with me, and now I'm proud to carry that on through the students and the Black male undergraduates that come to our program who are standing up today and saying, I want to teach, I want to go to ground zero and be able to develop and become a future maker of the students that we will see be the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you for this time. I appreciate you listening to my story of the teacher who inspired me.
We are so grateful to be able to share that wonderful audio for our Teachers Who Inspired segment. Throughout the rest of the episode, we'll share Hailey Ellzey's story and the amazing impact she has on her students. To start us off, you'll hear from Hailey, who shares what led her to teaching as she found her passion for teaching high school students.
So I have taught for 4 years. This is my fourth year teaching. The first 2 years I was teaching Intro to Business at the Greenbrier Junior High, and last year was my first year to get switched over to the high school. So the first 2 years I taught Intro to Business, and then this past year and this year I've taught Marketing and Entrepreneurship. And then my first grade teacher, Miss Brantley, is actually the one who influenced me to be a teacher originally. I was in her first grade class and she would always correct me in like this red pen on how to do our alphabet. And I would always get so frustrated because I would try to do it as perfect as I could. And every time I would still have something wrong to be corrected on. So out of like first grade pettiness, I decided that I was going to be the one to do that one day. So then I decided then and there that I was going to be the first grade teacher. And then when I got to ninth grade, I took that intro to business class. And so I decided that I would rather be a business teacher just because computers weren't going away. I was really good at it. I was really interested in it. And after I reflected on what it was that I was wanting to teach, I realized that teaching younger grade levels was not going to be right for me. At this age, I had a kindergarten age brother and he would drive me nuts. And I also just realized that I would rather be with more independent students and be in an environment where they could be creative and engaged on their own rather than like the daily routines of tying a shoe or asking for help with every little thing. I wanted them to be more independent. And then I also at this point in time was feeling like a lot of pressure around standardized testing and performance data. And I just really wasn't wanting to focus on that kind of impact. I was more drawn to teaching an elective where the kids had to choose to be in that class and it was something that they were already interested in. That way I could be more flexible with how I taught and how they could be creative in their own way.
To learn more about Hailey's incredible impact on her students, we spoke with Jenna. She expands on what led her to nominate Hailey and reflects on how Hailey cultivates a space where students feel comfortable and excited to learn.
Honestly, she's probably the best teacher I've ever had. She's genuine and kind, and she always puts hard work into everything she does. And like I had said in the nomination, she makes sure everyone's comfortable in her class. Like sometimes I'll have a teacher and I dread going to that class because I'm just not comfortable in there. But when we go into Miss Hailey's class, it feels like home. Like she makes us excited to come to class and it's something to look forward to.
When Jenna's business teacher went on medical leave, Hailey stepped in to support the long-term substitute. Even though this was her first year of teaching, Hailey dove headfirst into going above and beyond for the students. Jenna's mom, Melanie, heard all about the extraordinary effort Hailey put in to ensuring the students felt confident in their learning. This experience is just one example that highlights how Hailey consistently shows up for her students every day, beyond what is expected of her.
Well, the interesting thing about Hailey and Jenna, originally Jenna did not have Miss Hailey as her teacher. When she first started her first year, and this just goes to show how she shows up for these kids every day. Jenna had a different teacher, and the teacher that she had for the business class, the computer class she had, was on medical leave. And so they had long-term subs. And long-term subs can do so much, but they were lacking some instruction there that was needed. And Miss Hailey, without being prompted, without being asked, stepped in for all the students. And she had every one of those kids. And I think that was her first year teaching. She was also working on her master's degree while teaching, and she took on all of these students. And it's just really impressive. That really impressed me. She wanted to make sure the kids learn what they needed to learn in that class. Even though she wasn't their teacher, she was their teacher. And she basically opened the door between the two classes and just stood there and taught to all of them. So she had a huge amount of students she was teaching, and it was a responsibility she took upon herself that she really didn't have to take upon herself. And so Jenna would come home and she'd talk about this Miss Hailey, and then when she would talk about what she was doing, I was like, she's making a huge impact on these kids, and she's just really impressive. And then you get to know her on a personal level, and she's a really sweet, kind-hearted person. And it's so, so important to have someone that you can trust around your kids, and she's trustworthy, and that goes so far in a parent's, in the world today.
Building on the story Melanie shared, Hailey reflects on how this experience in her first year of teaching was a defining moment for her. Fearlessly diving into this not only built her confidence, but also assured her she was doing exactly what she was meant to do.
I think one of the most defining moments of my teaching career for the last 4 years has been what Melanie spoke about my first year teaching. I was 20 years old. I had just graduated with my bachelor's degree. I jumped into my master's, and I'm now teaching not only my 150 kids plus a study hall, I'm teaching somebody else's 150. I was responsible for both classes because I jumped in. I didn't even know anything was going on. To my knowledge, she was, updating the stuff online, and a student had come over to me crying, and they said, "Miss Hailey, I'm grounded because I have a 0 in survey of business." And I'm like, "Well, why do you have a 0? Like, we need to get the work turned in." And they were telling me there's no work. There's no work posted, and there's nothing being graded of the stuff that we have done. So I that day got permission from my principal to have access to the online grading system, the Google Classroom, and I just started filtering on anything that I could do. And then I started recording my lessons the night before, posting it so that they had it to reflect on. I would teach in my classroom for about 30 minutes, and I would switch with the sub and go teach in the other classroom for 30 minutes. So that was such an overwhelming experience, but it forced me to grow up as an educator. Like, you got to get in, and you got to get in quick. Like, I knew that teachers had to deal with changes happening all the time, but I did not know that that was what teachers did. Like, teachers managed chaos, but they did it with compassion, and they always put the students first no matter what. Like, looking back, it grounded me to my purpose of being an educator. I was staying before school, after school, during lunch. I was messaging kids over the weekend, trying to get them caught up. And it reminded me that even in like the hardest moment, I still love to teach. And if I couldn't have handled that first year, like, I think that would have shown whether this was where I'm supposed to be or not. And I think it showed me that, yes, this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're made to do. And these are the kids that you do this for.
Highlighting Hailey's commitment to supporting her students inside and outside of the classroom, Jenna shares more about her above and beyond support. Hailey helps her students prepare for life beyond the classroom by supporting them with resume building, scholarship applications, job searching, and even helping Jenna pursue her Associate of Arts degree while still in high school. Through this, her students are equipped with critical skills to support them beyond their time in her classroom.
Last year, I was really wanting to get a job so that I could have my own money to spend, because I don't like to ask my parents for money a lot of the time. It kind of just makes me feel bad. So she helped me make my own resume so that I could use it, and she even called around places to see if they were hiring and genuinely tried to help me get a job. She has helped me with scholarships, filling them out when I didn't know what to do. I'm getting my AA degree in high school, and I had to figure out how to send my transcripts to the college to get the degree, and she helped me with that. She helped me print things out. And she did make the plan for my AA degree. She helped me plan that out so I could get all the classes I needed. And this year I've been helping with the blood drive a lot, and we found out that there's a scholarship for helping with the blood drive, and so she's giving me that scholarship. And not even just me, but she's helped other kids outside of the classroom. Like, we have it's called Focus at our school, and you can graduate early so that you can get out into the working world faster. And she has helped sign papers to get other kids into Focus when they really needed to. And then she's also helped ag students with CDE competitions. And obviously she's a business teacher. She has nothing to do with ag, but she has helped them any way that she possibly could.
When we spoke with Hailey's principal, he mentioned that Hailey is great at building meaningful and professional relationships with her students. Hailey creates a student-centric environment where each student is celebrated for their individuality. By prioritizing bringing her authenticity to the classroom, she allows students to feel safe and respected.
I get asked this a lot about rapport because he and a couple of others have said that I'm really good at rapport and making relationships with students, but I don't think about it as something that's like a strategic thing that I plan. I do make sure to prioritize building relationships, and mostly I think that I can do this by just showing them my true, authentic self. I feel like when students feel that they are just talking with another real person, someone who's like actually caring about them, that's respecting them, that's willing to be vulnerable and have bad days, have good days, you see the real true them, that it creates that trust and connection automatically. So it's not something that I really seek out to go do. It's just something that naturally happens with like a genuine care that I have for each of the kids that's in here. I also really prioritize making sure students feel seen and valued. I know every single student I've ever taught's first and middle name. This is Jenna Lauren. I know every kid's name. I make sure that I have interest and I show interest in what they're doing outside of school. They ask me to come to a concert for them for band or choir, I go. If they ask me to go to their game, I will be there. I make sure that I participate in parts of their life that's not just business classes. Like you can hold them accountable in ways that's outside of school just as much as you can inside of school. And I think I mostly focus a lot on their genuine person rather than the student that they are in a business class. And so I think that just really reinforces like a two-way respect rather than it just being like, I'm your teacher, you're in this class, this is what you're doing only. My main goal for students is for them to feel safe and respected and to genuinely just be excited to be here. I'm happy that they're here, even if they don't want to be here and they'd rather be anywhere else. I'm happy that they're here. And I think that that foundation of just getting to know them as a human before you get to know them as a student, that fosters the relationship naturally. And so it's not really something that I strategically am trying to do. It's just something that happens when you care about the person.
Hailey's positive impact and relationship building are also witnessed by the parents. She has a natural gift for leading by positive example for her students and creating meaningful connections. Jenna's mom, Melanie, shares more about the remarkable person Hailey is and the lifelong difference she is making in her students' lives.
I think that Hailey is just a good example of a woman, how a woman should be in life. She's a great example. She lifts people up. She encourages everyone around her. She makes a positive example by leading by example. And I think young women these days really need that. And I think I know it tears me up just thinking about it. I'm really impressed with her. And I think she cares about her kids and she makes a difference. And she finds ways to get to know every one of these kids and how she can help them. And so her students are very blessed to have her.
Beyond the classroom, Hailey values community service and involvement. She is involved in a number of programs, including Future Business Leaders of America, EAST, and the high school's newest, Panther Serve Day. Through these programs, Hailey is not only making a difference herself, but she is also supporting her students in cultivating a passion for participating in the community and professional development opportunities.
So when I was younger, my grandparents were really involved in like the Disabled American Veterans, the DAV, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars Auxiliary, the VFW. And I was always going to like volunteer things for those. And so it kind of just like felt good to help others. And so when I became a teacher, I still just felt that same strong connection, especially when they introduced me to the EAST program. I've helped plan the Veterans Day and the blood drives that we've done for the community. This year, specifically, Jenna has been one of my main students that's helped me with the blood drive, and we have raised our donations from about 40 was how many we've been getting an average per year, and this year we've hit a record in the state at 98 donations. So we actually got an award this morning just as kind of recognition for us being in the leaderboard of this. But those projects have just really taught me a lot about how to organize events and having like a real impact and connecting with the people that are in charge of every little aspect of those events. And then with FBLA, I did FBLA when I was in high school. And so the last 4 years doing FBLA as a teacher has been really different on how I have to plan for all of the kids to learn the skills that they're having to take part in. But we've also been doing local fundraisers and outreach programs related to that. And then the Panther Serve Day is actually a new one, but it's actually going to be one of my favorite traditions, I think. So we've got one on Tuesday coming up, and it's where we dedicate an entire school day for all of our 11th and 12th grade kids to go into the community and volunteer at different places in our community. So some will be cleaning up the park, some will be helping at food pantries, some will be helping with local organizations, Some will be painting, at which school is that? Eastside Elementary. They'll be painting up some areas that need some touch up, and then there'll be others that are going and picking up trash, planting flowers, that kind of thing. And so I think having been introduced to doing volunteer things at such a young age was probably what started it, but I really just know and can see that those little acts of service, even if somebody doesn't know that you're doing it, can make a huge impact. And so, above all, I just think that it's important sometimes to focus on somebody that's not you.
In Jenna's nomination, she mentioned that Hailey helped her step outside her comfort zone and take on a school project to present to the school board. With Hailey's support, this experience was invaluable for Jenna and helped her gain confidence in planning and public speaking.
So she brought it up to me, and at first I was kind of like not sure because it was a bunch of people, and I didn't know how I would do with talking in front of people. But she told me everything that I needed to have for them, and so I started a slideshow, and she just helped me continue that slideshow and put everything I needed with it. And any question I had, she knew exactly what to answer it. And yeah, I wasn't used to talking in front of people, but she made sure that even though I wasn't really comfortable with it yet, that I had what I needed to be comfortable with it. And so once I had everything I knew I was going to say, it helped so much more. And so that day, Miss Hailey was like, don't worry about it. Like, it's okay. She gave me a little pep talk. And it calmed me down a lot. And then I got up there and I talked in front of them and everything was okay. And it just really helped that she was there the whole time to answer any questions I had. And she knew exactly what to say. And it ended up making me feel so much better. And then I wasn't afraid at all.
Pre-professional classes are important in helping students to build vital skills for their future. During our conversation with Hailey, she expressed the invaluable skills and transformations these classes cultivate. She highlighted how pre-professional classes help students adapt to a fast-changing world, setting them up for both personal and professional success.
So I think that pre-professional classes are incredibly powerful in helping students grow, but not just academically. I think they can also grow professionally and personally. Greenbrier offers a lot of classes for students to complete in their CTE career pathway, and that's career and technical education. So that could be ag, that could be fact, that could be business, that could be welding, computer science, human social services. Like, we have a bunch of different pathways offered. And I think that these classes are really, really good for giving the students like a chance to develop real world skills like communication, leadership, time management, but then also learning how to collaborate with each other, how to present themselves professionally, how to professionally dress, how to adapt to a fast changing world. There are things that one kid could learn in a marketing class last year that's not relevant to what they're going to learn next year. Everything's changing all the time. So one of my favorite parts of teaching a pre-professional class is watching that growth happen in real time. I have had Jenna for the last 4 years. I've seen her be a completely different ninth grade student who is shy and not outspoken and won't tell you if anything's going on that that needs to be fixed or whatever. She just will let it slip by. But then to being somebody who's like, actually, that's wrong. We're going to fix it. We're going to do it the right way. She is a leader. She is outspoken. She's going to solve the problem, and she's going to communicate the way that she needs to communicate. And so seeing that in real world time is insane. Just like with her presenting to the school board, that turned into her then presenting. She presented for our CTE tour with all of our Chamber of Commerce came. All of the admin from all the schools came. She presented to all of them. She's presented at a career fair, FBLA and East. We went to East Convention, and she presented the East projects. She's presented at the FBLA competitions where she will go on her own and select an event and then go and compete off with whatever event it was that she chose. And then I can also see like the students using those skills that they've learned in class to do internships. They've got job opportunities. They've got college scholarships. I've got one student who I've had for the last 4 years, and her name is Allie, and she wants to be a marketing major. And so she's in my marketing classes, and I can help her with her portfolio. I've helped her make real life teacher magazines and projects, and it's just things that you can apply in class now to where she's going to be able to apply that when she leaves this year, to graduate and go on to college, and she's going to be able to use those skills.
Reflecting on Jenna's journey throughout high school, Melanie expands on the growth she's seen in her daughter. Hailey's mentorship and teaching will stay with Jenna long after high school, supporting her as she continues to grow both professionally and personally.
I would say she's going to remember Hailey for her friendship as well as her mentorship. I think that, and this is funny that she brought out all of this same stuff, because that is actually what I was thinking. I have watched Jenna grow so much in high school, and I've really watched her step out of her comfort zone, and I attribute that to Hailey. I don't think that Jenna would have jumped at the chance to present to a school board or a Chamber of Commerce event or anything like that. I think that was encouragement from a teacher who saw potential in a student. And I think that where Jenna was nervous, Hailey saw that, draw her out. I can do this. You can do this. And so I think that she will be using her mentorship. I think that there's a friendship there that will continue to grow. And who knows, she may be her maid of honor one day in her wedding.
Thank you so much for listening and joining us today to learn more about Hailey Ellzey, one of our May honorees and recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. To read more about her story, you can visit our website at honored.org or click the link in the episode description. If you have a teacher who you want to recognize and nominate for our teaching award, you can head to honored.org/nominate to recognize a teacher today. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can follow us and leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening in from. Thanks again for listening, and make sure to tune in next month to hear the incredible story of our June honoree.